Hey everybody, let's finish Samson up, Samson's sketchbook. Um, Thanks for reading it with me. So he visited Samson on page 60. I guess he escaped from the Philistines, picked up some posts on his shoulder, carried them to the top of a hill. Then he went over to the valley of Sorek, met Delilah, fell in love with a woman named Delilah. And the Philistine lord came up to her and said, "Hey, trick Samson, entice him to tell you his secret, and we'll give you 1,100 pieces of gold. Pieces of silver, sorry. Tell us what his secret is, where his strength come from, and we'll give you 1,100 pieces of gold." So she doesn't do this, but the Philistines are saying, "Do this, entice him. Samson, honey, how are you so strong? How are you overpowered? How can you be overpowered? Let me tell you my secret, Delilah." So the Philistines tell Delilah, "Find this out. Trick Samson." "Okay, I'll do it." So she tells Samson, "Please tell me your secret." And he says, "If you bind me up with new cords, fresh bowstrings," and I need to get some of these out to show you visuals. Yarn, thread, bowstrings. I don't know if that's like an arrow bow, but if I'm bound with 7 fresh cords, I'll be weak like any ordinary man. I'll be like everybody else. So the Philistines go get the bowstrings for him, and she ties him up and says, "The Philistines are hiding. The Philistines are upon you, Samson," because the Philistines are hiding. And he broke the bowstrings. Snap, just like yarn touching fire. And I need to find some yarn for you. So Samson's secret remains unknown. So Delilah says, here she is, "Delilah, tell me." Says, "Tell me your secret. You're making fun of me. You're making fun of Delilah. You're lying to me. You're lying to Delilah. How can you be tied up? You're making a fool of me." Samson made a fool out of Delilah. Maybe I should have a line to her saying that. "Samson, you made a fool out of me. Tell me your secret." So he says, "If you bind me with new ropes, he'll become weak like any other man. He will lose his strength." So what does she do? She tied Samson up with new ropes, brand new. She says, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson. Here they come." And he broke free again. The ropes broke, even though they're brand new, like thread. Thread that puts clothes together. You put a thread through a needle, the eye of the needle. Judges 16:13. "Okay, now you mocked me and told me lies. How can someone tie you up? Come on, tell me." So he says, "If you weave in and out the 7 locks of my head into the web of the loom, if you weave my hair," so I guess that's like braiding. Loom is a device used to weave. So "I'll lose my strength if you weave my hair." So he's asleep, and she weaves his hair tightly, and then she says, "The Philistines are here." And he pulls out the loom, or the batten. I've never heard that word before, the batten. He pulls it out, and he escapes again. Then she said to him, "How can you say I love you? What? Your heart is not with me. Samson, come on. I've asked you 3 times where you get your strength. How can you say you love me? 3 times I've asked you, how do you get your strength?" And it came to pass, when she pestered him daily with her words, every day, "Tell me, come on." Delilah bothered Samson. Her words pressed him so much, she nagged him so much, almost to death. He said, "Okay, I'll tell you." And he told her everything in his heart. And he said, "No, my hair cannot be cut. No razor can touch my hair. I've been a Nazarite since I was in my mother's womb. I can't. If I'm shaven, then my strength will leave me. No strength if my head is shaved." When Delilah saw that he told her all his heart, "Wow, he told me everything," she sent a messenger to the Philistines. Come on over here. And I drew a little phone, even though they didn't have phones back then. Tell the Philistines to come back one more time. He's told me everything. So the Philistines came. Here's your 1,100 pieces of silver. And she lulled him to sleep on her knees. Go to sleep. And then she called for a man. Go get him. Shave his head or cut him. No, I used scissors there. Or here's an electric razor. Shave his head. So Samson sleeping, she humiliated him and subdued him, and his strength left. And she said, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. He's asleep, and so he wakes up from his sleep and said, I will go out as before at other times and shake myself free. Samson will escape like he always does. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. He didn't know the Lord God had left him. God stopped helping Samson. Where's God? Then the Philistines took him. Judges 16:21. The Philistines took Samson and put his eyes out. I know it's violent, but it's history. It's in the Bible. Poor Samson. And they brought him down to Gaza. Samson went down to Gaza. They bound him with bronze fetters. So they used bronze metal chains. Bronze has copper in it. It is like metal that is a brown color. So they didn't use any strings or ropes. They used metal to bind him. Judges 16:21, and he became a grinder in the prison. Samson in prison, fetters or shackles. I don't know what a grinder is, but I had him grinding some grain or something. So Samson becomes a grinder in prison. However, the hair of his head began to grow again after it had been shaven. Yay, his hair is starting to grow back. Now the lords of the Philistines gathered together. The Philistine leaders assembled together, Judges 16:23, to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god. Philistines made offerings to their god Dagon, and to rejoice. So they made offerings and they rejoiced, and they said, what is on his face? And they said, our God has delivered into our hands our enemies. Dagon gave us Samson. Dagon has given us into our hands our enemy. Into our hands Dagon has given our enemy. Judges 16:24. When the people saw him, the Philistines saw Samson, they praised their God. Praise Dagon. For they said, our God has delivered into our hands our enemy. Samson, the enemy, has been captured. That's like a wanted sign. He's now captured, the destroyer of our land. Samson destroyed our land, and the one who multiplied our dead. Samson killed many Philistines. We hate Samson. We captured him. Hooray. Judges 16:25. So it happened when their hearts were merry, they probably drank a lot, merry, happy hearts, that they said, call for Samson that he may perform for us. I don't know if he's going to sing or dance or what. So they called for Samson from the prison. Samson looks kind of like a big head here, but a young man leads him, I believe. So they called for Samson from the prison, and he performed for them. He entertained them. He made them happy, I guess, because he was miserable. Judges 16:25, and they stationed him between the pillars. Those are like columns. They put him between the pillars. Then Samson said to the lad who held him by the hand, let me feel the pillars which support the temple, so that I can lean on them. Let me lean on the columns. Let me lean on the pillars that support the temple. Let me lean on the pillars. He looks kind of funny here with his shackles and his glasses as if he's blind. Now the Judges 16:27. Now the temple was full of men and women. The temple was full of women and men and women. All the lords of the Philistines were there. All the Philistine leaders were there. About 3,000 men and women were watching while Samson performed. Samson entertained them. They were so happy. 3,000 Philistines watched Samson. So I'm not sure exactly how the building looked, but that's just my idea, and I hope it explains things to you. You get the gist of it. Helps you understand. Judges 16:28. Then Samson called to the Lord, saying, "Oh God, remember me, I pray. Remember me, God. Put me in your memory, put me in your brain. Think about me. Strengthen me, I pray, just this once, O God, that I may with one blow take vengeance on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. God, please help me just this once, that I may take vengeance for my 2 eyes, that I can get them back." Judges 16:29. Is God going to hear him? And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars which supported the temple, and he braced himself against them, one on each side and the other on his left. I need to explain brace. It's like holding it up to support it. His left hand on a central pillar, his right hand on the central pillars. It actually doesn't, one on his right. I'm not sure if those were central, but then Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he pushed with all his might. Let me die with all of these people, bad people. Judges 16:30, and the temple fell on the lords and all the people who were in it. So everyone died. This reminds me of Wizard of Oz, where the witch dies. It was smashed. Everyone died, 3,000 people. So the dead that he killed at his death were more than he had killed in his life. Samson killed more people at his death than he killed during his lifetime. So I'm thinking, when he was alive, he killed 1,030, and as he was dying, he killed 3,000. So I'm not a mathematician, but that should be around the numbers. And his brother and all his father's household came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of his father Manoah. So did Samson, was he an only child? I don't think so, because it says his brother. So when you're having Christmas dinner, New Year's dinner, say, "Hey, do you guys know if Samson had a brother or not?" And I think he did. They buried him at Manoah's tomb between Zorah and Eshtaol, Manoah and Samson. I don't know if his mother's alive or not. He had judged Israel 20 years. For 20 years, he judged Israel. Okay, thanks so much for reading that. Keep reading the Bible and pass on the Bible to others. Say, your friend gave this to you. Your friend drew this. So God bless you and your Christmas, and we'll talk to you later. I think I'm going to go back to New Testament, so we'll go back to, what are we reading? Acts, and maybe Paul's sketchbook. God bless you. Bye-bye.